now within range of the cameras down on the ground. Let's go now to NASA's cameras and take a look. As you can see, Discovery is about 45,000 feet and about maybe 2.5 to 3 minutes from landing.
Discovery traveling at 880 nautical miles per hour.
This Discovery mission has been called one of the smoothest of the 18 so far and the most successful. 3 communication satellites were launched from the Discovery during the 7-day mission, and they also, after a failed attempt with the laser being fired from the island of Maui, managed to track a blue laser more than 220 miles. The landing today was questioned a little bit. Some high winds were causing some problems, and they had some showers in the area. NASA was prepared to move Discovery to a second runway, but apparently that's not going to be the case as it is started to clear up at Edwards Air Force Base in California. The international crew conducted a news conference yesterday, and one of the questions was asked to the Saudi prince on board about the problems going on right now in the Middle East. And he said if the troublemakers in the Middle East could come up here and spend a few days watching the boundaries disappear between the countries, maybe there wouldn't be so many problems down below. The turnaround between this mission and the next one is going to be a short one. On July 15th, the 19th mission, which will be Space Lab 2, is scheduled to leave from the Kennedy Space Center in Florida, another 7-day mission conducting scientific experiments. The majority of the things that were done on this one was making NASA some money. The 3 satellites brought in about $30 million of the total $150 million of the total price tag of the Discovery mission. We can see now they're on their final approach coming to the Edwards Air Force Base dry lake bed. They're using that instead of the Kennedy Space Center because of some problems they had with braking, that it's a little safer to put it down in California and then ferry it back to the Kennedy Space Center.
Surface winds 135 at 10, that's 10 knots from the left. Anticipate touchdown in a minute. 4 miles from the end of the runway, 6,300 feet altitude. Sync rate 192 feet per second. Airspeed 290 knots. 3,000 feet altitude, 3,000 feet even. 2 miles from the end of the runway. 1,000 feet altitude. Sync rate is now 70 feet per second. Gear are down. 1 mile from the runway. 86 feet. Gear are down and locked. And we have touchdown at mission elapsed time 7 days, 1 hour, 38 minutes, and 50 seconds. And we expect the rollout margin to be 4,500 feet and 15% braking. We'll stop at 7 days.
As the shuttle rolls to a stop, it puts another cap on a successful mission, the 18th so far of the shuttle program. They will be probably another hour, hour and a half before the astronauts are brought out of Discovery. They want to check around the spacecraft to make sure that there are no leaks.
Discovery Houston, no immediate post-landing deltas for you. Nice job, Dan. Welcome home. Roger, thank you.
And it looks like the landing went picture perfect. The view of the landing is a little different than what you normally see. They did use a different landing strip, which gives you a different perspective as you watch it come in.
Convoy 1, we'll stop.
So the mission of Discovery is now over. Scientists back at the Kennedy Space Center, will be taking the Spartan satellite out of the cargo bay of Discovery to study the Milky Way galaxy and the existence of black holes that gobble up stars and other matter. It is one of the experiments that they released and retrieved, something that NASA has been wanting to do. It gives them an opportunity, if they need to do some satellite repairs, to be able to pull up alongside a satellite using the robot arm and to pull it back into the cargo bay to bring it back and work on it or work on it up in space.
Proceeding to the orbiter Discovery from its standby park site on the edge of Rogers Dry Lake. The recovery convoy's purpose is to make sure that the orbiter is properly safed on landing.
The only real problem that Discovery had during this mission, there were two. One was the laser test that they were going to perform. The mission controllers on the ground sent up some figures in feet instead of nautical miles, and the laser beam that was reflected hit the underside of the shuttle instead of the top of it. It was supposed to be turned upside down so the laser would reflect off a mirror that was mounted in the shuttle. But outside of that one small problem, Discovery is back on the ground, labeled 100% successful by NASA.
7 days of smooth operating comes to a perfect end for the space shuttle. The multinational crew brought Discovery in for a perfect landing today at Edwards Air Force Base. Frank Seltzer reports.
2, 1. When Discovery blasted off a week ago, carrying the 5 NASA astronauts and 2 international passengers, no one guessed just how smoothly the flight would go. The shuttle had 3 commercial satellites to put into space, and they were put out. 1, 2, 3.
Sounds to me like it's 3 up and 3 away. Sides retired.
No, we're not ready for retirement quite yet.
A 4th scientific satellite was launched from Discovery for a 2-day drift before being picked back up. The Spartan, as it's called, peered into a nearby galaxy cluster and into the center of our own galaxy, the Milky Way, to see if a black hole really is at the center. An experiment for the so-called Star Wars defense used a laser to track the shuttle, and the crew turned that into a light show. By Sunday, the crew finally talked during a space news conference. Much of the attention went to the international passengers, Patrick Baudry of France and Sultan Al Saud of Saudi Arabia. Saud, the nephew of King Fahd, noted how a space voyage changes your perspective.
Looking at it from here, the trouble all over the world, not just the Middle East, looks very strange as you see the boundaries and the border lines disappearing. So I think lots of people who are involved in causing most of these problems ought to come up here and take a look.
Baudry said being in space is hard to describe to anyone who hasn't been there.
The best dream to do was to be awake and to go to the window and to look at the Earth. And for me, to sleep was just a waste of time.
And even before Discovery landed, both Baudry and Saud were talking about their hopes of making another trip into space. Frank Seltzer, CNN Space Watch.
Ending the program's most successful mission so far. During the journey, the crew of 5 Americans, a French test pilot, and a Saudi prince deployed a record 4 satellites. The shuttle also served as a laser target in the first test of the so-called Star Wars defense system. Its work completed, the spaceship sailed into the desert at dawn today.
It was called Fantastic. The shuttle and its international crew accomplished several things on their journey of almost 3 million miles. They launched 3 satellites, a record, and helped map the Milky Way. And after one false start, they bounced a laser beam back to its source in Hawaii in a successful test of technology for the Star Wars missile defense system.
The 7-person international crew launched 3 communication satellites and even helped test the president's Star Wars system. The landing, like the flight, was flawless.
Down and locked. And we have touchdown at...
The only problem on the flight took place when the Discovery's wheels dug into the soft desert runway. It could have been the runway, or it could have been a brake.